John Higgins has shared his thoughts regarding the possibility of Stephen Lee making a return to professional snooker, a topic that has drawn significant debate within the snooker community. Higgins, a four-time world champion and one of the sport's most respected voices, did not shy away from expressing how he feels about Lee's situation and the idea of a comeback. His comments shed light not only on the seriousness of match-fixing in snooker, but also on the question of redemption and whether certain players should ever be welcomed back into the fold. Stephen Lee, once ranked among the top players in the world, received a 12-year ban in 2013 after being found guilty of multiple match-fixing offenses. The severity of the punishment reflected the seriousness of the charges and the governing body's determination to uphold the integrity of the sport. Lee, who was in his late 30s at the time, saw his career come to an abrupt and controversial end. With the suspension period due to expire soon, speculation has naturally arisen about whether he could return to competitive play. Higgins acknowledged the magnitude of Lee's offenses and emphasized that integrity is the foundation of snooker. For Higgins, who has been competing at the highest level for decades, the fairness of the sport is non-negotiable. He noted that fans and players alike expect every frame and match to be contested honestly, and once trust has been broken in such a serious way, it is difficult to see how it can ever be fully restored. Higgins' comments suggested that while forgiveness is one thing, allowing a player previously banned for such serious misconduct to return may undermine the credibility of the sport. The issue of Lee's potential return is complicated by the passage of time and the fact that he has already served the majority of his punishment. Some argue that a ban, no matter how long, must eventually end, and once it does, a player should be allowed the same rights as any other. Higgins, however, indicated that the sport needs to be careful not to send the wrong message. By allowing Lee to come back, it may appear that match-fixing can be forgiven or that the consequences are temporary. Such a perception could be damaging, especially in a sport that relies heavily on betting markets and where the threat of corruption is ever present. Higgins also spoke from the perspective of someone who understands the pressures of the professional circuit. Players often face enormous financial and personal challenges, and the lure of quick money can be tempting. However, Higgins emphasized that these challenges do not excuse deliberate cheating or deception. He stressed that the responsibility lies with each individual to protect the integrity of the game, even when circumstances are difficult. His firm stance made clear that, in his view, there is a line that should not be crossed, and once crossed, it is nearly impossible to go back. At the same time, Higgins did not ignore the human side of the story. He acknowledged that Lee's life has been deeply affected by the ban, and the former player has had to cope with years away from the sport he once loved. Higgins recognized that Lee may genuinely wish for a second chance, but the central question remains whether the sport can afford to take that risk. For Higgins, the answer seemed to lean toward caution, underscoring his belief that the game's reputation must come first. The debate around Lee's possible return highlights broader issues within professional sports. How should governing bodies handle cases where players have served their punishments but still carry the stigma of serious misconduct? Should a lifetime ban be the standard for offenses like match-fixing, or should players be allowed to come back after a long suspension? Higgins' comments suggest that while each case may be unique, the priority must always be maintaining the integrity and credibility of the competition. Fans of the sport have been divided as well. Some feel that Lee has paid the price and deserves an opportunity to rebuild his life, while others agree with Higgins that welcoming him back could set a dangerous precedent. The governing body of snooker will ultimately have to weigh these perspectives carefully before making any decisions about Lee's future involvement in the sport. For now, Higgins has made his position crystal clear. While he understands the human side of the story, his loyalty lies with the game itself and its need to remain beyond reproach. His stance reinforces the idea that snooker, like all professional sports, depends on honesty and integrity, and once those values are compromised, the consequences must be lasting. In the coming months, as Lee's ban reaches its conclusion, the governing body will face difficult decisions. Whatever the outcome, Higgins' voice will remain an influential one in the debate, reminding everyone of the sport's ultimate responsibility to its players, fans, and future. His comments underline that the credibility of snooker is not just about the next tournament, but about protecting the game for generations to come.